Welcome to Growing Younger Health and Fitness podcast designed for people over 40. Hello guys, this is Alex here from Growing Younger, the physio. Look, in today's podcast, we're going to talk about getting back on track. Okay, so for whatever reason, a lot of people have to take a break from their exercise routine. So it might be due to an injury, or might be due to a health problem, or maybe some life circumstances. Well, either way, you may have to take a break for a month, a couple of months, maybe even longer. Now, the problem comes when you try to get back on track. You try to get back into your exercises, and quite often people, while they're having a break, their body gets deconditioned. When they get back into their sort of exercise fitness routine, they quite often end up with an injury. Okay, so basically they sort of assume that their body is still where they left off when they stopped exercising, a few months ago. And they kind of get back exactly the same thing, exactly the same level of exercises where they left off. And because the body has already declined, the strength has declined, they end up with an injury. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a few little strategies that you can use for overcoming this issue and not causing an injury. Okay, so let's say you had some sort of for whatever reason you decide you took a couple of months off without exercise. Now you're feeling a bit better. You're trying to get back on track. The first thing you should consider is just go easier, much easier than where you the last time you did exercise. Okay, because almost for certain your body has deconditioned in that time that you took a break. So I would probably say start back at about 70 to 80% of where you were last time you exercised. Okay, because your muscle strength declines quite rapidly if you are sort of sedentary, if you're not exercising enough. So you could assume, let's say, if you were doing 10 kilos doing squats or whatever other exercise we're talking about, so you start from 7. Okay, start from 7 kilos. Now this is a very general guide. This is not a personalized advice to you, but this is kind of a general rule of thumb that we use for our clients. Okay, so yeah, go at about 70% of where you left off. Okay, so go easier first of all right? Then if it feels like after your first couple of sessions, if you feel like, yep, that's really comfortable, this is quite easy, then you can start to gradually increase it as you go. Now, when you start to increase it in a gradual way, there's something called a 10% rule. Okay, so 10% rule says that you only increase the weight for your weightlifting or resistance exercises by no more than 10% per week. Okay, so if you're doing 7 kilos this week, pretty much you can only go up to, let's say, well, you can round it up a little bit, so you maybe 8 kilos next week. Okay, but don't go from 7 to 12. Okay, because there's a very high chance you may hurt yourself. Okay, so 10%, no more than 10% per week. All right, so that's one thing. The other thing is, if you had a break, when you get back on track, very recommended that you see a personal trainer. So someone who's going to take some responsibility for you doing the correct type of exercise. They need to look at your technique, your posture. Are you doing the right type of exercise for your current situation? All these things. Okay, so this should be done by a professional. When you try and wing it by yourself, doing sort of a DIY stuff, look, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it causes pain and injury. Okay, so definitely consulting with a personal trainer is certainly highly recommended. Now, after your first couple of workouts, after a long break, it is quite normal for you to end up in a certain degree of discomfort. Okay, so you get what's called DOMS. Okay, so it's post-exercise delayed onset muscle soreness. Okay, it's the kind of normal ache that you can expect in your muscles after exercise. Okay, so this is normal. Now, it's hard because pain is very subjective. It's hard to say whether the pain that you get the following day is normal. Is it just a muscle ache that you get as expected, or is that some sort of injury? So there's no one single rule that I can give you that will help you like 100% decide whether it's one or the other. Okay, But generally speaking, if it's just a normal muscle soreness after exercising, you will feel that sort of ache. Some people even like say, oh, it's like a nice sensation, like it's just like a kind of a pulling, kind of achy sensation in your muscles. However, if the pain is quite sharp and it's centered around your joints, like your knees, maybe your shoulder joint, maybe your ankles, then maybe it's not, maybe you are sort of looking at some kind of injury, okay? So it depends on what kind of pain it is. Like if it's sharp pain, probably not a good thing. If it's more of like a dull ache, more likely to be a sort of just a delayed onset muscle soreness, which is completely normal, okay? Also, if it lasts for more than 3 or 4 days, it's probably more likely to be an injury. If it goes away within 2 or 3 days, then that's what usually happens after you start getting back into your exercises, okay? Now, if your pain kind of lasts for more than, I'd say, a week or longer, I think, yeah, it probably is a sign that you may have to go and see a health professional, whether it be a physio or a doctor. You should be seeing someone about it. Now, another couple of tips. So, especially if you had a long break, okay, from exercising, I wouldn't recommend you start back with like high impact exercises. Okay, so like running, for example. Okay, running, jumping. Anything that involves like any kind of high impact on your joints, like burpees, star jumps, all these kind of things. I mean, it is something you can do further down the track, but because your joints might be slightly vulnerable, the muscle strength has decreased after a long break. So start off easy. You definitely should be doing resistance training, but low impact. So things like squats, sit to stands. For those of you who are stronger, maybe doing some gentle slow lunges, okay? But you don't want to be starting with like high impact jumps or burpees or anything of that nature, okay? Also running, okay? If you had a long break from running, I would recommend as a physio, do some strengthening first. So strengthen your hips, strengthen your quads, calf muscles. It will help you minimize the risk of injury if you start running, okay? So I'm not saying don't run, just maybe do at least 4 to 6 weeks of strengthening your leg muscles, and then you can start back running again, okay? So running is great. It's a great way to get fit, burn some calories, but also unfortunately running can actually result in an injury as well. It's a high risk kind of activity, okay? So to minimize that risk, especially if you're over 40, because everything we do is for people over 40, you want to treat it with a bit of caution. So do some strengthening. Cycling is really great for strengthening your quadricep, your thigh muscles. So I would recommend, if you're a runner, always supplement your running with a bit of cycling as well, whether it's a stationary bike in the gym or you actually go on a proper bike, out in the park or something like that, okay? So hopefully that helped you. And if you do have any questions from a physio aspect, with getting back on track after a long break, obviously if you're over 40 and you need some assistance, some help, reach out to us, Growing Younger. Just send us a message, email. I'll put some links in the description down below in this video. If you're watching this from a video, or if you're listening to this on the podcast, there's a link there in the description of the podcast as well that will help you to get in touch with us and ask questions if you want to, okay? So all the best for now. Hopefully that helped, and I'll speak to you on the next podcast. All the best for now.
Okay guys, so I hope you found the podcast of value. If you did and you're struggling with your own health and fitness journey, there's a link in the description for a free discovery call with me. And that free discovery call, we're going to cover off a little bit about you, your history, your goals, what you want to achieve, and maybe we can help you or not with your own health and fitness goal. So if that does sound like something that you'd like to do, then click on the link in the description, and I look forward to chatting to you in the very near future. Have a good day guys, bye bye.